Trump is gearing up for the big debate Thursday. He's trying to manage expectations with claims that Joe Biden will be on drugs. He says he wants them both to submit to a drug test before the debate. Do you have any idea how long it takes to get a urine sample from men who are close to 80?
Yes, that was Martin Short sitting in for Jimmy Kimmel, I guess, last night. Martin Short, it's tragic what has happened to comedy in America, isn't it? Yes, it is. It most certainly is. Tragic, I tell yous. Man, oh man. Speaking of Washington, D.C., we got a lot going on around here. The Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department put out a notice about a robbery that took place in Northeast Washington, D.C., not too far from the Capitol building. And a Democrat, a 26-year-old Democrat by the name of Naquel Henderson. Naquel is not a name. Nobody's ever been named Naquel, N-A-Q-U-E-L. That's just letters that make sounds. But 26-year-old Naquel Henderson was riding a scooter and he crashed into a woman's car. Looked like he crashed into the car on purpose, probably a stolen scooter. Crashed into the woman's car. And the poor woman got out of the car to see if Naquel Henderson was okay. And Naquel Henderson's got a gun and a large capacity ammunition feeding device. And he robbed the nice lady. The nice lady was robbed. Got out, oh no, Naquel, are you okay after you crashed into my car? She doesn't know him. I just like to use the word Naquel because it's not a name known in human history in any culture ever, anywhere. But that's okay. So Naquel Henderson, 26 years old, he crashed into the lady with a scooter. The lady got out because she's a human being. And the Democrat named Naquel Henderson, he's got a gun and he robbed her because that's... So when in D.C., if Naquel or any of his friends crash into your car on a scooter, probably just keep going. Maybe run him over. It might be wrong to run him over. Maybe. I don't know. I'd consult a lawyer before running him over, which in Washington you can do by rolling down your window and yelling at the person next to you who's probably a lawyer. Hey, is it illegal if I ran over Naquel over here? Because Naquel just crashed into my car and he's got a gun. He's charged with robbery while armed and carrying a pistol without a license. Can you believe he carried a pistol without a license? How about that? And possession of a large capacity ammunition feeding device, because your pistol might be hungry. Needs a feeding device. That's your Democrat Party. Your Democrat Party. Aren't they amazing? President Trump's peace plan for Ukraine. At least he's got one. Where's Joe Biden's? Who's our Secretary of State again? Antony Blinken. What a loser. What a schmuck. He's got a bunch of protesters camped out in his front yard. He lives over on Route 123. And they're Democrats living in tents in front of his house along the road, a busy road. I'm surprised none of them have been run over lately. And they're protesting in favor of Hamas because that's what Democrats do. That's what they do. Also, there's a hearing going on right now having to do with President Trump's motion. His lawyers have filed a motion to dismiss the classified documents case. The one where the FBI went to Mar-a-Lago and they laid out the documents and photographed it and then fed it to the media. And whoever did that should go to prison, because it's illegal for the FBI to be doing that kind of stuff. But we don't live in a nation of laws anymore because the left is here and they're at the FBI. But the crooks at the FBI that staged that photo and then fed it to the media, they should face charges and they should lose their jobs and their sabotage. It was political sabotage, like the felonious 51 in the alleged intelligence community that signed on to that letter, penitentiary face Brennan and that gang of crooks and criminals that he runs with, corrupting our presidential election, which they did. But, if you're a Democrat, it's a consequence-free world, isn't it? And another story today that has the news media spun up, got their panties going again. The headline from these guys, who is these guys? The printer cropped a lot of stuff off here. Supreme Court wades into transgender culture wars. Well, I don't know if it's them wading into it's the Democrat Party launches the culture wars. They attack everybody. They transgenderize children by way of child genital mutilation, which we used to condemn when it was happening in third world hellholes, like Burkina Faso, where they have child genital mutilation practices, and the United States would condemn the child genital mutilation because we used to be a civilized country. But now the Democrat Party has adopted those practices instead of condemning them. The Supreme Court will hear its first case on issues stemming from the national culture war over transgender rights. It's not transgender rights, it's about children. Leave the children alone, you creepy predators. The court has agreed to hear the United States versus Jonathan Skrmetti, taking up the appeal brought by the Biden administration in response to a Tennessee law banning gender-affirming care for transgender minors. Gender meaning child genital mutilation, which our corrupt news media now describes as gender-affirming care. There's no such thing. Those words do not function together. Gender-affirming care for transgender minors. Leave the children alone, you creepy predators, you child sexual predators. This is, gender queer, where they've got a graphic novel training little boys to have sex with grown men because a lot of Democrats think that's neat, think that's a good idea. Now, it's a Tennessee case, according to the American Civil Liberties Union, taken over by left-wing radicals and not a legitimate organization anymore. One of the advocates that filed suit, there are over 3,000 transgender adolescents living in Tennessee. Let's go back 20 years and see, 0 transgender adolescents living in Tennessee. But the Democrat Party has sold it like it's free crack. Oral arguments, should they really call them oral arguments, in the case are expected in the court's 2024-2025 term, which will begin in October. The Supreme Court did not act on a separate appeal from Kentucky, but the appeals court upheld the Tennessee ban in September, finding that this is a relatively new diagnosis with ever-shifting approaches to care over the last decade or two. Under these circumstances, it is difficult for anyone to be sure about predicting the long-term consequences of abandoning age limits for any sort of these treatments. Treatments are, of course, genital mutilation on children, because Democrats, I think, are they all sexual predators now? Child sexual predators? Or Samantha Williams, the mom of the 15-year-old daughter in the case, is her daughter a boy, said in a statement, "We don't want to leave Tennessee, but this legislation would force us to either routinely leave our state to get our daughter, probably son, the medical treatment she, probably he, desperately needs, or to uproot our entire lives and leave Tennessee altogether. No family should have to make this kind of choice. No child should be genitally mutilated in the United States of America." And, honestly, I like to point this out because it's a perfectly good analogy. The state of Maryland prohibits people under the age of 18 from going to tanning salons. You prevent people from under the age of 18 all over the country from getting tattoos. In many places, you can't get piercings, your ears pierced, or, God forbid, your nose and your various other things you get pierced until you're 18 years old. But child genital mutilation is a fad with Democrats. And now the state of Tennessee passed a law, which is how that's supposed to work, passed a law saying, well, until you're 18 years old, we're not going to allow surgical, medical, genital mutilation, dismemberment, sexual dismemberment of children, which is what we call people under the age of 18, legally speaking. But the Democrats are child sex predators, and they've organized around child sexual predatory practices. And this is child abuse. That's what we used to call it. And if we saw it happening in Sudan, we would condemn it. And when we see it happening in Tennessee, we should also condemn it. But the Democrat Party is unwell. They're sick, aren't they? Yes, they are. Yes, sir. So the Supreme Court will hear the case, and that's good. And the Supreme Court is constantly under attack by these fascist Democrats. They're quite mad indeed. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I tell you what. Let's take another phone call. Lots of nice people, great Americans, hanging on the line. And we've got a big primary election going on in New York State, and Jamal Bowman is the racist Democrat, anti-Semite, frothy, foul-mouthed, vulgar, sounds like a criminal gangster, and a Democrat in good standing in the House of Representatives. Remarkable stuff. Headline: The Washington Post has a story on it today. It's on page 4, page A4. Bitter, costly New York race highlights Democrats' divisions. They should loot each other's offices, then maybe burn them, because they do a lot of arson too, don't they? Bowman, Latimer, that's Jamal Bowman, and his opponent is a Democrat named George Latimer in the primary contest today. Bowman, Latimer battle in most expensive House primary in U.S. history. But really, it's about being a racist, because the Democrats love racists. Mount Vernon, New York is the dateline. Colby Itkowitz and Dylan Wells typing for the Democrat Party. A volunteer for Representative Jamal Bowman's campaign trailed George Latimer out of a Juneteenth event last week, asking the Westchester County executive, who's challenging Jamal Bowman in a primary contest on Tuesday, that's today, whether he was getting his racist talking points from MAGA donors or whether he had come up with them himself. Latimer, who is white, they don't say Bowman is black, though. They don't say Bowman who is black. They just say Latimer who is white. See, because they're racists. Latimer, who is white, ignored the provocations of the Jamal Bowman racist provocateur that was sent to the event to harass another Democrat who is white and to call him a racist, because that's what the racists do, all right? Now, Latimer, who is white, ignored the provocation and instead turned to a group of black boys who ran up to shake his hand and take pictures. And Latimer said, "I never knew you were so racist." Excuse me, this is the Bowman guy again. "I never knew you were so racist," the Bowman volunteer continued. And then the white Democrat liberal, George Latimer, has to say, "I grew up in Mount Vernon," Latimer replied, referring to this majority black city. "In 25 years, the racism would have shown by now," he says. That's what he says. So he's being attacked as a racist by his racist Democrat counterpart in a primary competition, a primary contest. The brief exchange demonstrated the tensions that have engulfed this primary and the Democratic Party, as Bowman and Latimer have battled for the Democratic nomination to represent New York's 16th district in Congress. Latimer, who repeatedly won the support of local lefties and African Americans over a decades-long political career in this area, is suddenly the target of some of his former fans' ire. He faces backlash for his steadfast support for Israel and for challenging Bowman, the district's first black congressman, in a fiercely fought contest that has become the most expensive House primary in American history. Now, this is, again, Jamal Bowman is the guy out there screaming about the Jews and using the MF word and all this good stuff. Pretty amazing stuff. Your Democrat Party, this is what the Democrat Party is. And they are, let's remember, the party of the Confederate States of America, the party of Nathan Bedford Forrest and the KKK, the party of every single Jim Crow law, the party of lynching black people from trees in racist attacks. And now they're the party of hiring racists to go yell, "You're a racist," at white people, while the black racist is yelling about the Jews. I got to tell you, today's Democrat Party should be banned as a political party in the United States. Yeah, it's the old Russian playbook, Jamal Bowman hiring somebody to go around and yell at a white Democrat that he's a racist. Jamal Bowman is the biggest racist in the conversation, and he hates the Jews. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Gerald calling from Charlotte, North Carolina. Gerald, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
I'm great. What do you say?
Good, good. Man, I'm just, I was listening earlier, and you were talking about how Joe Biden is in Camp David, being prepped by 16 different people.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind. If this guy has a clear schedule for the entire week, be prepped by 16 people, who's making the everyday quick decisions that are needed for the country? I mean, it's a bit rhetorical, I think. But.
Yeah. I guess Barack Obama as usual, right?
That's what I'm thinking. It's got to be. I mean, but it's just, I don't understand how people don't see what's happening. It really blows my mind that people are so blind to reality.
It's our media mostly, I think.
Of course it is. It is. I mean, but people need to wake up. I mean, because
we do.
I believe this is one of the most important elections ever, if not the most.
I think you're right, and everybody's saying that, and we hear that a lot, but this time it really is. I mean, we're so corrupt. Who's the White House Chief of Staff? Who's the Secretary of State? Who's in charge of diplomacy? Who's in charge of peace talks? Who's in charge of the economy? Who are these people? Now, since we were just talking about the racist, anti-Semite Democrat congressman from New York, Jamal Bowman, who is a squad member, and the news media, they love this guy because they like arson and looting. The New York Times today, what to know about Jamal Bowman's bitter Democratic primary race. They always have to bring race into it, don't they? The Associated Press, Representative Jamal Bowman faces tough challenge from George Latimer, who's another Democrat, but he's white, so that's a problem. In Democratic primary in New York suburbs. And just amazing, these people. And I love this CNN headline. The progressive left digs in for besieged New York Representative Jamal Bowman in Democratic primary clash. That's the CNN headline. And the progressive left, those are the people that shoot everybody and rob everything and burn police cars, the Democrat Party. The historically expensive bid to unseat Representative Jamal Bowman is entering its final frantic hours as a moderate, white county executive from north of New York City, propelled by pro-Israel groups, record advertising outlay, appeared poised to deny the progressive black former middle school principal a third term in Congress. Now, this is the fire alarm pulling Jamal Bowman, right? And I played the audio for you yesterday of Jamal Bowman in the Bronx over the weekend, yelling about the Jews, the damn Jews, and AIPAC, the American Israel Political Action Committee.
We are going to show AIPAC.
What? Woo.
The power of the motherfucking South Bronx.
Yeah, you should go shoot somebody now. Is he going to go shoot somebody now? That's Jamal Bowman. He's not on the side of civilization, and he sure hates the Jews.
People ask me why I got a foul mouth.
Ask me.
What am I supposed to do?
Not
You
have
coming after me. You coming after my family.
Who, the Jews?
You coming after my children.
How about the weather?
I'm not supposed to fight back. I'm not supposed to fight back. We're going to show them who the we are.
Yeah, and that's all just fine. And the Washington Post story on them today doesn't even talk about that. That's not even Washington Post. You know, the Mama Jamma. I'll try to keep it clean. And the Jews and the AIPAC. That's not even in the story. That's not. The Washington Post doesn't cover the news. They cover it up. Just amazing stuff. Why would they even report on that? And and they attack. The Washington Post does attack AIPAC because the Jews have spent money. Because this Nazi is, they love to call everybody Nazis, and then they come out and attack the Jews and condemn the Jews, and then they attack a synagogue. And we played the audio for you yesterday of a mob of Democrats and Democrat adjacent allies violently attacking Jews at a synagogue in Los Angeles while they simultaneously call everybody Nazis. Isn't that amazing? Now, a Fox reporter found Jamal Bowman and asked him a question about his being a vile, vulgar, Jew-hating, neo-fascist Nazi boy.
Congressman Bowen. Congressman, do you want to apologize for cussing over the weekend?
He just keeps walking.
Do you want to apologize for any profanity
over
the weekend?
Just blows her off.
Congressman?
He doesn't. He just shrugs. He's like, no, I don't. No, I'm just a Democrat. That's fine. And you're a Democrat. If you vote for them, that's you. And I may not want to hang out with you because you're probably not a good person to hang out with. So there is, and the news media, they're all okay with this. They're fine with it. And Jamal Bowman is sending some hack racist out to chase around the Democrat challenger, George Ladimer, and call him a racist. And you're getting your racist talking points from MAGA donors, or you come up with them yourself. And good stuff. Just that's your Democrat Party. Couldn't be more vile, more vulgar, more third world, more banana boat, more un-American. Just amazing, going around calling everybody racist. And I was reminded of Victoria Nuland. Victoria Nuland was an Obama administration official and a Biden administration official in the State Department. She just left the administration quite recently, probably to go make millions of dollars selling weapons to kill Jews or something. But Victoria Nuland was testifying before Congress, and she was sort of smirking and smiling and talking about what she called the Russian playbook. I think it was originally the Soviet playbook, where whatever it is they're accusing you of that because they know that they are guilty of that.
It is classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves.
And they're going to accuse you of being racist because they know that they're such racists that they will eventually be accused of being racists. And by the time you're accused of being a racist, you've already accused the other guy of being a racist, you see. So when you're accused of being a racist, you just shrug and say, I've already called him a racist. And now you're just yelling back and forth. And if we had a news media, their role is supposed to be the role of sorting this stuff out and not allowing those people to get away with it. You know what I'm talking about? Amazing stuff. Also, I never even got to it yesterday. The Democrat prosecutor in Atlanta, Georgia, that was arrested at a nightclub, a black woman, for assaulting a police officer and claims of racism, all about that too. Body cam footage, police body cam shows infamous Georgia judge arrested after nightclub brawl. Just an amazing story. This Democrat, who is Christina Peterson, she was arrested the early hours of Thursday morning, meaning very late Wednesday night, outside a nightclub, shouting at a police officer there, a patrol car. Then she assaults the police officer. She's a judge, probate judge in Douglas County, Georgia. And she's already facing accusations of systemic incompetence in her role as judge. And then she's out, and it looked like she may have been consuming adult beverages and a bunch of people that you probably don't want in your neighborhood outside this nightclub at night, and it's violent. And then this woman assaults a police officer. She's taken into custody and arrested and thrown in the back of a police car in handcuffs. And she is just, I got to tell you, the Democrat Party has a very, very low opinion of the United States of America and of our judicial system. I know because they put people like 38-year-old Christina Peterson into positions as judges when it looks more like she should be in jail. But the Democrat Party is not on our side. Isn't it amazing? Just amazing stuff. Assaulting a police officer. She's a judge, you know, and that's okay. And this is Fulton County. This is where Fannie Willis is a prosecutor, and where, 10 people died in the local jail in the last, some months. Everything for no reason. Atlanta Police Department police officer grabbing the club on Peachtree Road. Peachtree Road goes on and on and on. Pretty amazing stuff. Yes. Shockingly, disproportionate reaction and is the hallmark of Peterson's incompetence. A panel wrote about her her incompetence as a judge, a probate judge in Douglas County. And she's out there getting hammered and assaulting police and being arrested.
Ma'am.
Take me where you want to take me.
I can't take
no,
you. I don't
take
have any
me.
identification on
And
me.
I don't care. You don't need identification.
She's in the back of the police car in cuffs now.
You have picked up dead bodies when you don't know who bodies it was, but you picked them up.
Man.
Take me where you need to take me.
I'm trying to.
What?
No, take me where you need to take me immediately, expeditiously.
Expeditiously.
Take me. I could give a damn. Take me where you want to take me.
How do you want me to take you somewhere expeditiously?
Now.
Expeditiously.
Take me where you want me to take you.
Where do you want me to take you expeditiously? Hey, she knows the word expeditiously. That's pretty good. That's good stuff. Yes, sir. Let's expedite. Let's be expeditious about all this. Adam Corolla? There is a comedian who's historically a pretty funny guy, and his name is Adam Corolla. Adam Corolla has announced that he is leaving California. He's been in California. I think he's originally from Canada, isn't he? Isn't he a damn Canadian? All these Canadian comedians. Adam Corolla says he's leaving horrible California, pans sociopathic Governor Gavin Newsom. Slippery eel of nothingness, he calls him. The comedian called the governor a narcissistic empty bag, and he went on Sage Steele's podcast to announce that they have so destroyed, Democrats have, liberals have, the left has, so destroyed California that he is out of there.
How do you live in Los Angeles?
Ugh, it's horrible. I grew up here, so.
Okay, so he's not a Canadian. That's somebody said he was a Canadian. Most comedians are Canadians.
I have twins, and they're in their senior year of high school, and I didn't want to pick up and tear up their roots, So people always go, when are you leaving? And I go, I will be attending their high school graduation in a U-Haul. I may not get out of it. I may just park.
I mean, just live in a van down by the river, take the kids.
I don't know who Larry Elder is, but I know Gavin Newsom's a Democrat. And I'm like, that's how we vote. My Dumbo moms. It's like ride or die with Gavin Newsom. And it's like, can you just admit you made a mistake and try something else? And it's like, no, we cannot.
Yeah, that's exactly right. No, they cannot. No, Joe Biden is real good. And he's leaving. And he said he's looking at Texas, Florida, and the Carolinas. The problem is that, he'll move there and then he'll be a liberal and do everything wrong wherever he moves. Pretty amazing stuff. Yes, sir. We got border stuff, too, what with all the murders and the rapes and the, little children being killed and raped. And because of the Democrats and the Democrat Party's policies, which they could care less about. When they see the reports, they say, yeah, whatever, and they just move on. And that's the news media, too, because they're also Democrats. You know how they are. Yeah, Julian Assange, the fix is in on Julian Assange with the Biden administration and the Democrats. Julian Assange agrees to plead guilty in exchange for release, ending standoff with the U.S. So the Biden people are cutting, all the top secret classified Pentagon documents and all of that stuff. And now the Biden administration is cutting a deal, and they don't care. If he damaged the United States, then they're with him. They think that's great. That's wonderful. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange's plane leaves Bangkok on his way to U.S. court, where a deal has been struck with the Biden people. The Justice Department, they're too busy putting grandmothers in prison for praying outside of abortion clinics and so on. So a plane with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange departed Bangkok, Thailand. And it is a private jet. It looks like a Gulfstream jet, a $65 million private jet. After refueling Tuesday, he's on his way to Saipan to enter a plea deal with the U.S. government that will free him and resolve the legal case over the publication of a trove of classified documents. So they, Democrats, the Biden people, are going to let him off the hook. The chartered flight from London that Assange's wife, Stella, confirmed was carrying her husband. I got to tell you, this administration couldn't be more corrupt, and the Democrat Party couldn't be more on the other guy's side. Boy, he's expected to plead guilty to an Espionage Act charge of conspiring to unlawfully obtain and disseminate classified national defense information, according to the U.S. Department of Justice, in a letter filed in court. He's expected to return home to his home country of Australia after his plea deal sentencing. And then they're going to let him off the hook. And it's, we'll just make it go away. They should have Sirhan over to the White House for dinner, too. 2 years after Roe v. Wade was overturned, it's reported that over 65 million unborn babies have fallen since Roe v. Wade was passed in 1973. Thousands more taken every day. Now, this great organization I'm working with, Preborn honors these souls who had never had a chance to take their first breath. Every one of them could have been someone special. It's also been reported the abortion pill now accounts for over 64% of abortions. And every day now, Preborn's network of clinics stands strong for these unborn babies and the mothers, offering support and free ultrasounds to show mothers with unplanned pregnancies the life that is growing inside of them, the little human life, little helpless person. Once she sees her baby, and here's the heartbeat, it turns out that a mom is twice as likely to choose life. So will you join Preborn and the Chris Plant Show in defense of the preborn and the unborn? One ultrasound costs just $28. And if you're a business owner, perhaps you can consider a larger donation. All gifts are tax deductible and will reach eternity, potentially. So, get involved today. All you have to do is dial pound 250 on your cell phone, and when prompted, you say the keyword baby. That's pound 250. The keyword is baby. Or you can go online to preborn.com/plant. That's preborn.com/PLANTE. And rest assured that 100% of your tax-deductible donation will go toward helping saving babies and mothers. Yes, sir. Yeah, the Democrats, I don't think they're looking very good in today's show. What do you think? Because of Joe Biden and his open border, people are being murdered that have never been murdered before. And in Houston, a 12-year-old girl was murdered by 2 illegal aliens who are now in custody. The Democrats support the murderers. The New York Post has a story. Illegal migrants lured Joycelyn Nongari, 12, under bridge, assaulted her for 2 hours before killing her. The prosecutors say the illegal Venezuelan migrants accused of murdering 12-year-old Houston girl lured her under a bridge where they stripped her naked and to the waist and assaulted her for 2 hours. Disturbing new court documents allege. And they got these guys, Franklin Jose Pena Ramos, 26, and Johan Jose Rangel Martinez, 21. They bound the girl, her hands behind her back, just like the illegal aliens in the park in New York tied up the little girl there, 13-year-old girl there. And these are the Democrat Party's open borders. In Texas, the prosecutors are talking about the death penalty for both of them. And in Texas, they actually have the death penalty and use the death penalty. Democrats are against it.